The distress beacon pulsed through the void, a desperate plea from the Valkorian research station, orbiting the gas giant Helios 7. Commander Zivarak's three-fingered hands trembled as he transmitted the signal, his pale blue carapace glistening with the moisture that indicated extreme stress among his kind. All Galactic Council vessels, this is Station Meridian. We are under attack by Kresh raiders. Shields failing, requesting immediate assistance. The Valkori were scientists, not warriors. Their species had evolved on a world with 0.4 standard gravity, where the most dangerous predator was a herbivore that occasionally got territorial during mating season. The concept of actual violence was something they studied academically, never experienced. The Kresh, however, were different, brutal, efficient. They had descended upon the station like a plague, their ships bristling with weapons that the Galactic Council had outlawed 3 centuries ago. To the Kresh, laws were suggestions, and the Valkyrie were merely obstacles between them and the station's valuable quantum research data. Zivarak watched his screens in horror as another section of the station depressurized. 17 researchers dead, just gone. His people didn't even have a word for murder in their native tongue until they joined the council. The response came 43 minutes later, but not from a council ship. Station Meridian, this is the human vessel Odyssey's End. We've received your distress call. Eat at 22 minutes. Hold tight, humans. Zivarak's internal temperature dropped. He'd heard the rumors, read the xenological reports. Earth, they called it Earth, though the council designation was TCN 34789. A death world. Gravity 3 times Valkori standard, oceans that could crush their submersibles like dry leaves, weather patterns that made Kresh war zones look hospitable, and the dominant species? Pursuit predators who evolved by literally running their prey to death. The Galactic Council had only granted humans provisional membership 2 years ago, and the debate still raged. Many species thought it was madness to allow Deathworlders into civilized space. Acknowledged Odyssey's End, Zivarak replied, his voice synthesizer struggling to hide his fear. But the Kresh have 4 warships. You should wait for Council reinforcements. Negative, Meridian. 22 minutes. Odyssey's End out. 17 minutes later, the Odyssey's End dropped out of FTL like a predator emerging from tall grass. It wasn't a warship. The database classified it as a mineral survey vessel. But as Zivarak watched, the human ship did something insane. It accelerated directly toward the Kresh blockade. The Kresh immediately opened fire. Plasma cannons that could melt through standard council shielding lit up the void. The Odyssey's End twisted, rotated on axes that should have liquefied any crew inside, and somehow avoided 60% of the incoming fire. The rest splashed against shields that blazed white-hot but held. Impossible, Zivarak whispered. Those maneuvers. The G-forces. His science officer, Pelnara, pulled up human physiological data with shaking appendages. Commander, their gravity, they train in it. Their bodies are built for it. What would kill us is normal for them. The Odyssey's End reached the first Kresh warship and did something that would haunt Zivarak's dreams for years. It rammed it. Not a desperate collision, a calculated strike at a structural weak point identified in 3.4 seconds of combat scanning. The human ship's reinforced bow punched through the Kresh vessel's engineering section, and the warship went dark, tumbling away like a broken toy. Inside the Odyssey's End, Anna Chen gripped her station console, her knuckles white but her hands steady. Hull integrity at 78%. We're good. Jixon Martinez, the ship's captain, stood behind her with the calm of someone who'd grown up in Earth's gravity, where simply standing was exercise for most species. 3 more. Target the weapons arrays. Let's make this quick. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a demonstration. The Odyssey's End moved through space like a living thing. Predatory, efficient, terrifying. The Kresh raiders had numerical superiority, better weapons, military training. But they'd evolved on a world with 0.7 standard gravity. They'd built their tactics around species with similar limitations. Humans had no such limitations. Anna's fingers danced across her console, routing power to engines that burned hotter than recommended, executing maneuvers that the ship's original designers had labeled theoretically possible but unsurvivable. Jixon called targets with the calm precision of someone descended from hunters, who'd crossed continents on foot to find prey. The second Kresh ship lost its weapons. The third tried to flee and took a missile to its engines, a warning shot. The fourth surrendered when Jixon opened a channel and said simply, "Leave, or we'll show you why Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world." The creche left. 20 minutes later, Anna and Jixon stood in Station Meridian's docking bay. Zivarak approached slowly, his species instincts screaming danger at the sight of these tall, muscular predators with their forward-facing eyes and controlled movements. Anna smiled, showing teeth which made Zivarak flinch, and extended her hand. "Station Commander. Everyone okay?" Zivarak stared at the offered hand. 5 fingers, each one containing bones that served as weapons in humanity's evolutionary past. He'd read that humans used to hunt by throwing rocks with enough force to crack skulls. Those hands had evolved to do that. Carefully, he extended his own appendage. Anna's grip was gentle, controlled, conscious of her own strength. "You saved us," Zivarak said quietly. "The Council ships, they wouldn't have arrived for hours." Jixon shrugged, the gesture casual despite what they'd just done. "You called for help," we answered. "That's what civilized people do, isn't it?" Civilized. The word hung in the air. These creatures from a world of hurricanes and predators with their dangerous strength and casual violence, calling themselves civilized. But as Zivarak looked at Anna's kind eyes and Jixon's steady demeanor, as he thought about how they'd risk their lives for strangers, he realized something profound. Perhaps civilization wasn't about being safe. Perhaps it was about choosing to be kind, even when you had the strength to be otherwise. "Yes," Zivarak said finally, his voice synthesizer conveying the emotion his species expressed through color shifts that humans couldn't see. "Yes, that is exactly what civilized people do." As the Odyssey's end prepared to depart, Zivarak sent a message to the Galactic Council. Not a distress call this time. A recommendation. The Deathworlders, he wrote, should not be feared. They should be welcomed. Because when the darkness comes, and it always comes, you want the predators on your side.